Hello, good morning, everybody. Hope all is doing well today. It's a little snowy day today, very cold. Not as cold as it was last week. Most of you guys around the country experienced a massive ice and snowstorm last week, which kind of crippled the country. And that kind of started reminding me about people with cancer being mentally crippled. And it's something that kind of weighs on me because I thought that, and I'm sure a lot of you do the same, I thought that when you have cancer, your life is pretty much over. It's at that point, it's just waiting your time, biding your time until you're gone. And for some people, I guess the type of cancer you have, that is the only option. And I just kind of want to put my 2 cents in on that. And I am a true believer that anything can get cured. Because one thing, I think I've talked about it before in a previous video, is that cancer is a foreign substance. It's not contagious. It may be, some of it may be genetic, or it's got a history in the family of certain types of maybe breast cancer, or other types of blood cancer may be transferred from parents to children, things like that. But I think for the most part, cancer is a foreign substance. And something that I've learned in doing research is that if it's a foreign substance in your body, it can be killed. And I fully believe that depending, once again, do your research, depending on the type of cancer you have, all natural products and treatment can definitely help minimize the side effects, if not completely get rid of it. Now, that being said, once again, I'm a very transparent person. I always want to tell my story, even though, with my type of cancer, I have stage 4 melanoma, metastatic melanoma, skin cancer. There is no cure for what I have. There's just treatment. And I have been on targeted immunotherapy drugs for almost 5 years now, and I'm on a new one now since last fall, because I stopped my first one. Now, what scared me the first time I was taking this targeted immunotherapy was because targeted immunotherapy is in the same family as chemotherapy. So in my mind, even though I'm being told, by my family, by doctors, that chemotherapy, chemotherapy obviously attacks all cells, whether they're good or bad. Chemotherapy, it attacks everything. It kills off the dead cells, so it kills cancer. At least that's the goal. That's its intended use. But it doesn't differentiate between the good and the bad, and it also kills the good cells. So it might very well kill your cancer, and you might be in remission. But a lot of the videos and the research that I've done is that normally 8 to 10 years after that, you're back at the doctor with a different type of cancer, because it has spread and it's no longer prostate cancer, no longer breast cancer, or whatever. It's a different type of cancer because the initial round of chemo killed off some of these good cells, and it's attacking the rest of your body. So I was scared, even though I was being told that what I was on was targeted immunotherapy. All the radiologists, or all the cancer pharmacists that were giving me my medication, they were calling it chemotherapy. So mentally, I kept being told that I was on chemotherapy. And technically, once again, I am, but it's in the same family as targeted immunotherapy, which means that it only targets that type of cancer, which is what I have. It's a BRAF gene that is making this cancer travel through my body, find a place to stop and grow. So what the medicine I'm on is it follows the cancer through my body, and it waits for it to stop, and then it jumps on it, suffocates it, and kills it. So mentally, I was thinking that the rest of my body was dying off by taking that initial medication, even though all of my other tests came back 100% fine. Liver test, kidney test, lung test, heart test. I mean, all my blood tests were 100% perfect. Blood pressure, 118/78. And I mean, everything else was perfect. So this medication I was on wasn't damaging any other part of my body, except for it was fighting this cancer. But last June, by the coaxing, and not aggressive coaxing, but coaxing by some other friends and family, I stopped taking that medication and started taking all natural or other types of medication or drug, Ivor and Fenben. I won't say the full names, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And I took those for a month, and it didn't do anything for me. I know they say, well, you're supposed to take it for 3 months. Well, the problem is, by the end of that first month, I could see the lesions on my arm and my legs start to come back, and I started getting other really bad pain in my back and in my collar, my shins, which is where the initial cancer was. So after a month and a half, I got to go back and see the oncologist, and they did a PET scan, and they're like, Chris, we know what your goal is to get off of this, but check this out. Not only had the cancer come back, but it was even worse than it was before, because now it had spread into my spine and gobbed onto some of the discs and were engulfing the discs in my back. It got into my collarbone, and it was really bad because it was hard for me to walk. I had to sleep sitting in a recliner chair. And so, I'm at the VA because I'm a disabled veteran as well. So I saw my oncologist, and they gave me a bunch of options. They referred me to another hospital here in town for a cancer specialist, and they showed me some clinical trials, which were all fine and dandy. But he's like, I'd rather see you go back on the medication. He said, well, was there side effects with that first medication? And I said, yes, there was, which is another reason why I didn't really want to be on it long term. It was nights, giving me night sweats where I would have to sleep on towels because I would sweat through my clothes 2 to 3 times a night. Shivers where my whole body would shake for hours at a time. And fatigue, which is normal because of the cancer, but even worse because of the medication. So he's like, okay, well, no problem. I've got a new medication that the effectiveness of it is even better than the medication you were on, and it does not have those side effects. So I decided, okay, let's go with that, because the other medication they were going to put me on, the side effects were horrible. Hospitalization due to uncontrollable bodily fluids or bodily functions, if you know what I mean. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So by the time I started my new medication, I was on it for a month. They were going to do some targeted radiation in my back because it was degenerating my discs. And if I waited too long, it could completely degenerate the discs and I'd be paralyzed. No, thank you. So I was on the medication for a month. They did some more PET scans because they wanted to get a baseline before they started this radiation on where I was at. And the day before I was to get this targeted radiation in my back, not only did my oncologist call me, but so did the radiation specialist. And they're like, Chris, no, we're not going to do the radiation. And I'm thinking the worst. What's going on? What's wrong? Is it just too far gone? And they're like, no, the medication is kicking the cancer's ass. All your lesions are going away, and the lesions on your discs in your back are starting to deteriorate, and everything is looking fantastic. Praise the Lord. So I did not need to get the radiation done, and so far so good, knock on wood. Over the last couple months, things have been getting better, except for normal fatigue, wearing down. But I've had that experience anyway because of my injury with the military. I blew out my knee in training, and it's been getting worse ever since. So that fatigue is from that, but it just wore it down even worse. So, but I'm like, okay, I guess I will be on this medication the rest of my life. So people are like, oh, I've taken 13 rounds of chemo. Okay. I don't know why they'd be bragging about getting 13 rounds of chemo, but I've taken 2 rounds of chemo every single day. They're in the pill format, but they're still chemo. Well, chemotherapy, targeted immunotherapy, twice a day, every single day, 365 days a year for the last 5 years. So I'm like, we're not bragging about this. This is what it does. It kills cancer, and just be happy that it's killing it, you know? But anyway, so I started thinking about what I mentioned in the beginning about people feeling crippled. Well, not being on my medication for a couple months, I felt crippled because the cancer was affecting my body to where it was very hard for me to do anything mentally, because I'm like, okay, here I am back on chemotherapy, targeted immunotherapy, and it was working, but at that time that I wasn't on it, I felt like I was lost, and that there was no way out, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. But I know a lot of people, and I've done a lot of research on the all natural stuff and the other stuff that I mentioned, and a lot of people are having great success with that. So I encourage anybody that's got cancer that's watching this video, or anybody who knows somebody who has cancer and has kind of felt crippled by their diagnosis and they feel like giving up. First things first is tell them, don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Fight, because this world is a lot better place with you in it, okay? This world is a lot better place with you in it. Do I need to say it again? This world is a lot better place with you in it. And I want to see you fight. I want to see you research all of your options. Now, if the doctors have said, oh, well, you know, not much more we can do for you, blah, 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 I would then do some serious research into some of these other alternative methods. That there's so much stuff on the internet. You're like, who do I believe? Well, if they have a certified natural health practitioner, obviously they're certified in the all natural alternative medicine. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's alternative, it's like witchcraft. No, it's not, okay? I mean, Eastern medicine has kept people alive for, 80, 90, 100 years. It's cured all diseases and things like that. So please do your research. Please look into this all natural stuff. I never recommend anybody. I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on YouTube videos. So I would never tell anybody to stop taking their chemotherapy or drugs, chemo or radiation. I would never recommend anybody to stop it. I recommend you to do research, because if the medicine you're taking isn't working and it is killing the rest of your body, I would look into, like I said, I don't recommend anything. I don't recommend any particular kind of medicine. All I'm doing is giving you my opinion. It's an opinion, that's all. I'm not a doctor. I have to obviously say that. I don't recommend, I'm not diagnosing you and saying, well, I think you should take this. No, that's what got me in trouble on TikTok, because I would say, I recommend you stop taking that and take this. Well, I can't say that legally because I'm not a doctor. So I'm not recommending you stop your medication. All I recommend is that you do your research. That's not illegal for me to say that. I suggest, there's a better word, I suggest that you do your research. Now, doctors are not going to want you to take all natural stuff because they want you to stay on their drugs. It's beneficial to them to keep you on drugs as long as possible. It's a financial big pharma thing. And that's another conversation, which I'm not getting into. That's political. I'm not going to talk politics. But do yourself a favor. Please do not feel crippled by what's going on in your life right now. Because one thing I know is when the doctor first started me on chemotherapy in May of 2021, they only gave me a year left to live. And my family and I really went through a lot of hard times after that diagnosis and that terminal. They said terminal in the beginning when I first got it, but when they gave me the, I'm going to air quote the chemo medication because they call it that because it's in the same family. Anyway, so when they started me on it, they gave me a year, and after a year, I'm like, well, what's keeping me alive? And they said, well, do you drink alcohol? And I said, no, I stopped doing that 35 years ago, almost 40 years ago now. And they said, do you do drugs? I said, no, I stopped doing that same time. And they're like, do you smoke cigarettes? And I'm like, no, I haven't done that. And God, that's literally 45 years. They said, well, if you don't do those things, that the effectiveness of this medication is going to work even greater and keep you alive longer. And they said, Chris, we can already tell you've got a good attitude because we can hear you coming down the hall at the VA. You know, you stop and chit chat, you laugh, you joke around, you goof around, you have a good time, you think positive. And she said, my oncologist, she said, Chris, I really wish that my other patients that I give this diagnosis to would have a positive attitude like you do. Because normal people, when they get that diagnosis, they just go home and continue to drink and do drugs. They think, oh, I've only got a year left, it's over, I give up. No, man. I've said this before in my videos and I'll say it again. I ain't got time to die. I got too much shit to do. God's got plans for me. And I think doing these videos is part of that plan because I get to talk to you guys. You, the ones with cancer, or you, the family members dealing with somebody in your family that's got cancer and not really sure what to say or how to say it. Well, before you go in there to talk to them, ask God for guidance and the right words. Because really it's all about love. It's all about loving your family, no matter what. Go in there and pour love onto them. Hold their hand, give them a hug, give them a kiss. Bring in board games. If they're kids, video games, whatever. Just sit with them. Have fun, joke around, take them in the backyard. Play ball with them, play catch, play Barbie, whatever. Whatever. You know? So, I will leave you with this, guys. Once again, I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it pretty much in every video, is that you may have cancer, but cancer does not have you unless you let it. Okay? All right, guys. Well, I love you. I pray for you every day that God will get into your heart and heal you and give you the strength you need to move forward on your journey. God bless you guys. Peace out. Love you.